you need to be friendly and honest and open. That's what we say. So first of all, honesty means you need to think about the feelings of the receiver. Before you communicate, make sure you are sensitive with your words. And how you carry yourself, so you do not hurt the receiver and you don't hurt their feelings. Everybody has them. Even if you call yourself gangster, they have feelings somewhere. Okay, so in trying to achieve this, you can send positive messages. And choose your words wisely. That is how you can achieve that. Send positive messages so you don't hurt people and choose your words wisely. So apart from that, you also need to be sincere and honest. You need to be sincere and honest. And use expressions that show respect of others. So use expressions that show respect. Okay, so Edward, the guy that just came in, what is correctness? Okay, fine. The other Edward. What is correctness? What is correctness?
The information should be correct to avoid misleading the customer.
So how can it be correct?
Giving the information.
Okay, so I need somebody else. Lovely. Use words that are correct. So when we're talking about correctness, this is the use of correct words, grammar, and vocabulary. So if you're not sure about how you can use a certain type of language, it is best not to use it and find other ways to communicate. So you need to use the correct grammar and vocabulary. So So observe the punctuation and spelling. Because these things can distract the reader. So you should know the difference between a full stop and a comma. So know how to use your language, know how to use words correctly. You also need to check the accuracy of the numbers you're using, if they're accurate, especially if you're communicating something to do with numbers. Check the accuracy. And use fast. Use fast. If you use stories that your relatives told you when going to bed, it may not make sense unless it's a fact and you have proof. So those are the 7 C's of communication. Communication. The few things that you need to learn in order to communicate properly and communicate effectively. So the basics of communication. So when we are looking at the basics of communication, the first thing that we're going to look at is the importance of language. So we are going to look at the importance of language. What is language? Solomon. What is language?
Can be defined as human communication, whether using verbal and non-verbal.
Human communication. Anyone who can add on that? Your name is Pastor?
My name is Leonard.
Debbie. What? Yeah. Can you add on that? What did you say it was? Language?
It's a human communication that uses both verbal and non-verbal.
Okay, so it's the human communication that uses both verbal and non-verbal. So when we are talking about language, it includes speaking, reading, and writing. So all these make up the human communication. And how we use, yeah?
What about signs? Signs that.
Signs can be written, but as he said, it can be verbal or non-verbal. So signs fall in the group of the non-verbal. How we express ourselves. So if you go to a different community, a new community, you need to learn how people use their language. So you need to know how they speak and the similarities between two languages. So you can be able to combine those things. So when you know about how people use language, you choose how to communicate. In order to help them understand. Understand your message. For example, the way we speak to Jewas here in town is different from the way the actual Jewas speak their language. So sometimes you need to be able to know some of the things that are vital and important to those outside your community so you can be able to communicate with them properly. So language is a formal system of communication that uses words, signs, it uses symbols, and sometimes numbers. So it is a formal way of communication that uses these things. And you use the words, the signs, the symbols to communicate ideas, feelings, questions, and anything that is on your mind. So you use the words, the signs, the symbols to communicate the ideas, the feelings, to ask questions from one individual to another. So that is the importance of language. So basically language is there to help us to communicate and share these three things. To educate, to persuade, it helps us to share our feelings and emotions between each other. What is vocabulary? Emily. Who's Emily? What is vocabulary? Goodbye. Okay, Edward, before Ketwale, another question is coming to you. Edward,
Wait, that are
the words that,
a person knows, or we need it.
so vocabulary is a range of words and phrases that the receiver understands. We go deep in that because we've all learned it from somebody. So, individuals use these words and these phrases for effective communication. So you put them together to come up with one message. But when you're putting them together, make sure that they are right and complete. So there are 4 types of vocabulary. So we have reading vocabulary. We have writing vocabulary, and we have listening vocabulary, and speaking. So, Ishmael, what is the reading vocabulary?
This is a form of vocabulary that we use when reading us to understand.
Okay, so is the range of words and phrases that we understand when reading. So some of the things you're going to read are things that are not spoken usually, but you are going to find them when reading. What about speaking vocabulary, Christopher?
This is a range of words or phrases that we understand through reading.
Speaking.
Through speaking, I mean.
This is the words that we use when speaking. So they are the words that we use when giving instructions and also when having conversations. That is the speaking vocabulary. Tiamike, what about writing vocabulary? Precious Kachisa, what is writing vocabulary?
It's a range of words and phrases that we understand when writing.
Okay, and listening is the same definition. So that is the first part of the basics of communication. The second part is nonverbal communication. And non-verbal?
Communication is very like sound,
Why is it important to master non-verbal communication? Where is the other paper? Darren, why is it important to master non-verbal communication? Okay, so you're referring to those who can see, who can speak, and okay. So how can it help you with those that can actually speak? Then. Okay, so what is self-presentation? Asante.
The way you present yourself,
Give examples.
in terms of like dressing, the way you speak, the way you look.
Okay, so non-verbal communication is the use of signs, symbols, eye contact, physical touch, and other ways that do not use words to communicate. So non-verbal communication is hard to understand because these things could mean something different depending on culture. So it is very important to improve the skills, the non-verbal communication skills, so you can build a proper message that does not lead to confusion. So you can use non-verbal skills depending on the situation or the environment. So for example, in the office, your posture needs to go hand in hand with what you are doing. When you're communicating with your bosses, make sure that your non-verbal communication does not portray something different. And your non-verbal communication should also show that you know yourself and understand what you are doing. So in the sense of non-verbal communication, you need to learn how to present yourself. So self-presentation is how you carry yourself. So it can go from dressing, from the way you speak, your confidence, how you do other things. That is self-presentation. So how you present yourself can portray a different message. So it is part of the non-verbal communication. These are things that are going to tell the listener something different about you. That's why when you're going for interviews, they prefer you wear formal dressing. So it portrays something about you wanting to work even if you don't want to. So in the self-presentation, it has a package. So the self-presentation package includes self-confidence, include self-awareness. It also includes accepting oneself and trusting yourself. So when you want to present yourself in a positive manner, you need self-confidence. So you should know and trust yourself. Be aware of the things that are positive about you and the things that are negative about you. What is self-confidence? Caroline, you can know it.
Believing in yourself, or believing what you're doing and what you're saying.
Okay, so how does self-confidence help you to succeed or to communicate effectively?
It gives a good picture to either the audience or the receiver. They believe that you know what you're doing, what you're saying.
Okay, so self-presentation helps you to communicate effectively. So for you to present yourself properly, you need self-confidence. So this is trusting yourself. To achieve what you're doing. So it also means believing in yourself. So in order to present yourself in a positive manner, have self-confidence. And you also need to communicate. Self-presentation goes hand in hand with communication. So if you know that something makes you angry, if you know that you don't like something, you should be able to communicate. And communicate in a positive manner. Self-presentation also goes hand in hand with nonverbal communication. So it involves things like how you talk, how you sit, and the signs that you use, your posture, and everything that can be related to facial expressions, how you smile, how you take care of yourself. Those are nonverbal communication things. So in order to carry yourself in a very positive way, you need to learn nonverbal communication. Okay, so self-presentation, I said confidence, communicate, I've also talked about nonverbal communication, and you also need to look at your appearance. So take care of yourself, have a good haircut, wear nice clothes, apply some makeup. It's important. important, don't you think? Very important. And self-awareness. So these are the most important things you need to have, the things you need to consider for self-presentation. So be able to express your feelings, communicate. Your nonverbal communication skills should also go hand in hand with who you are. If you can also try to smile once in a while. Self-awareness means you know yourself, you know what's good for you, and no one else can tell you different. That we're going to look at the basics of communication is personal communication skills. That's why we're going to start from